There comes a moment in your life, a quiet, honest, unavoidable moment, when you're forced to face the truth. Not the version you tell your friends, not the version you post online, but the real truth. The one you feel when you're alone, the one that whispers when everything goes silent. And that truth is this: you could be doing more. You could be better, stronger, further ahead, but you're not. Why? Not because you're not capable, not because you're not smart enough, not because you don't have potential, but because you've been making excuses. And excuses, they don't sound dangerous. They sound reasonable. They sound logical. I'm just tired. I've had a long day. I'll start tomorrow. I'm waiting for the right time. I just need motivation. And slowly, quietly, over time, those excuses build a wall between you and the life you want. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you said, "I'll start on Monday"? How many Mondays have passed? How many opportunities did you delay? Not because you couldn't act, but because you chose not to? Here's the truth most people avoid. Your life is a reflection of your habits, not your intentions, not your goals, not your dreams, your habits. What you do every single day, especially when you don't feel like it. That's who you are. You don't become successful by accident. You don't become confident by chance. You don't become disciplined overnight. You build it, day by day, choice by choice, action by action. But excuses destroy that process. They make you comfortable with being average. They give you permission to quit. They make failure feel acceptable. And the worst part? The more you use them, the more you believe them. They become your identity. You start saying, "That's just who I am. I'm not that type of person. I've always been like this." No, that's not who you are. That's who you trained yourself to be. And if you trained yourself into it, you can train yourself out of it. But it starts with a decision. A real decision. Not "I'll try." Not "maybe later." A decision that says, no matter what, I'm changing. Because change doesn't happen when it's convenient. It happens when it's uncomfortable, when it's hard, when it's boring, when you don't feel like it. That's when it matters most. You want to be great? Then you have to do what others want. Show up when others quit. Push when others stop. Stay focused when others get distracted. So let me ask you, when things get difficult, what do? Do you step up? Or do you step back? Do you fight? Or do you fold? Because your answer determines everything. Anyone can be motivated when it's easy. Anyone can work when they feel good. Anyone can chase goals when life is smooth. But what about when it's not? When you're tired, stressed, overwhelmed? That's where real growth happens. That's where discipline is built. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Especially when you don't feel like doing it. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. If you rely on motivation, you will fail, because motivation is emotion, and emotions change. They fade, they disappear. But discipline is a decision, a standard, a way of life. You don't wake up and ask, "Do I feel like it today?" You wake up and say, "This is who I am. This is what I do." That's how winners operate. They don't negotiate with excuses. They eliminate them. Every time you give in to an excuse, you weaken yourself. But every time you push through, you get stronger. Like a muscle, the more you use discipline, the stronger it becomes. So ask yourself, what are you training? Your discipline or your excuses? Because you can't have both. You can't want success and choose comfort. Comfort is the enemy. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you average. It keeps you exactly where you are. Growth is uncomfortable. It's painful, challenging, demanding, but it's necessary. If you want a different life, you have to do different things. You can't repeat the same habits and expect different results. So today, draw the line. No more excuses. No more delays. No more waiting. You stop saying, "I'll start tomorrow." And you start saying, "I start now." Because tomorrow is a lie. It's where dreams go to die. There is no perfect time, no perfect moment. There is only now. And what you do right now matters. Not next week, not next month, not next year. Right now, this moment, this decision, this action. Because your future is built on what you do today. Not what you plan, not what you hope, but what you do. So if you want a better future, take better actions. Starting now, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. One step, one action, one decision. That's how momentum begins. And once it starts, everything changes. Because action creates confidence. Action creates clarity. Action creates progress. Not thinking, not waiting, not overanalyzing. Action. So stop overthinking. Stop doubting. Stop hesitating. And start doing. Because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The more excuses you make, the more stuck you feel. And the more stuck you feel, the less likely you are to act. It's a cycle, but you can break it. Right now, by making one decision. No more excuses. Say it again. No more excuses. Say it like you mean it. No more excuses. Because this is your life, your future, your responsibility. No one is coming to save you. And that's not weakness. That's power. Because it means you are in control. You control your actions, your effort, your choices, and your choices determine your results. So choose discipline, choose action, choose growth, and most importantly, choose to kill your excuses. Now listen carefully, because this is where most people fall apart. Not at the beginning, not when they're excited, not when they're motivated, but in the middle. The middle is where dreams go to die. It's where things get repetitive, where progress feels slow, where your effort doesn't seem to match the results. It's where doubt starts creeping in. Is this even worth it? Why am I not seeing results? Maybe this just isn't for me. And right there, that moment, that's where excuses come back, stronger than ever. Not as weakness, but disguised as logic. Maybe I need a break. Maybe I should try something easier. Maybe I'm just not built for this. No, you're not failing. You're just in the middle. And the middle is supposed to be hard. Nobody talks about that part. Everyone shows the beginning. Everyone celebrates the ending. But the middle is quiet. The middle is lonely. The middle is where you're tested. This is where you separate yourself. Because average people, they quit here. But winners, they push through. They stop relying on motivation. And they start relying on standards. They live by one rule. No matter how I feel, I show up. Let that sink in. Not when you feel good. Not when it's convenient. Not when you have energy. No matter how you feel, you show up. That's the difference. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. If your standard is, I'll do it when I feel like it, you will lose. But if your standard is, I do it because it needs to be done, you will win. Every time. Because success is not emotional. It's procedural. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do, over and over and over again. Let's talk about pain. Because you're going to feel it. Not physical, mental. The pain of discipline. The pain of sacrifice. The pain of doing what you don't feel like doing. But here's the truth. You're going to suffer either way. You either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And regret lasts longer. Regret is waking up years from now, wondering what could have been. Regret is knowing you had potential, but never used it. Regret is watching others live the life you wanted, because they did what you refused to do. That pain stays. So choose your pain wisely, because discipline hurts now. But regret? Regret hurts forever. So let me ask you, what hurts more? Working hard today, or wishing you did later? You already know the answer. So why are you still hesitating? Why are you still waiting? You don't need more time. You need more discipline. You don't need more motivation. You need more commitment. You don't need perfect conditions. You need action and imperfect ones. Because conditions will never be perfect. There will always be something. You're tired. You're busy. You're stressed. You're distracted. There will always be a reason not to do it. But there will always be a reason to do it too. The question is, which one will you listen to? Because both voices are there. One voice says, take it easy. The other says, keep going. One says, skip today. The other says, show up anyway. One builds weakness. The other builds strength. And every single day, you choose which voice wins. Not once. Every day. And those choices, they shape who you become. You don't become disciplined overnight. You become disciplined by choosing discipline again and again and again. The same way you don't become lazy overnight. You become lazy by choosing comfort again and again and again. So what are you choosing? Because your future is watching. The person you want to become is being built right now. Not tomorrow, not someday. Right now, this moment. You either move forward or you stay stuck. There is no middle ground. Let's talk about effort. Because effort is everything. Not talent, not luck, not connections. Effort. Effort is yours. Effort is controllable. Effort is the one thing no one can take from you. You may not control the outcome, but you control the effort. And if you control your effort long enough, you will change the outcome. That's how it works. But most people don't last. They start strong, then they fade. They get excited, then they disappear. They make promises, then they break them. Not because they can't succeed, but because they won't stay consistent. And consistency, that's what kills excuses. Because excuses need gaps. They need breaks. They need weakness. But consistency closes those gaps. It builds momentum. It builds discipline. It builds identity. So if you want to kill your excuses, be consistent. Even when it's boring. Even when it's repetitive. Even when it feels like nothing is happening. Something is happening. You're building yourself. You're becoming stronger. You're becoming someone who doesn't quit. And that is priceless. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack endurance. They can't handle the long process. They want quick results, fast progress, instant success. But real success? It takes time. It takes patience. It takes resilience. It takes showing up when results are invisible. And that's hard because you want proof. You want to see it now. You want to feel it now. But growth doesn't work like that. Growth is slow, quiet, invisible at first, like planting a seed. You don't plant it today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it. You protect it. You care for it, day after day, even when you don't see anything. And then one day, it grows. That's how your life works. That's how success works. But most people quit too early. They stop before it shows. They walk away thinking, it's not working, but it was. They just didn't stay long enough to see it. Don't be that person. Stay in it. Trust it. Commit to it. Because results come to those who refuse to quit. Not the fastest, not the smartest, but the most consistent. So if you feel stuck right now, good. That means you're in it. If you feel tired, good. That means you're pushing. If you feel frustrated, good. That means you care. Use it. Turn that frustration into fuel. Turn that pain into power. Turn that struggle into strength. Because everything you feel can break you or build you. And the difference is your mindset. You can say, this is too hard, or this is making me stronger. You can say, I can't do this, or I'll find a way. You can say, I'm tired, or I keep going anyway. Same situation, different mindset, different result. That's the power you have. And that's how you kill excuses. Not by waiting for life to get easier, but by becoming stronger. Because life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. Say it again. Life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. And strength comes from doing hard things. So stop avoiding difficulty and start embracing it. Because everything you want is on the other side of hard. Let's talk about something most people avoid. Not because it's complicated, but because it's uncomfortable. Self-respect. Not the kind you talk about. Not the kind you show online. The real kind. The kind you feel when you're alone. Because at the end of the day, when everything is quiet, when no one's watching, when there's no one to impress, you know the truth. You know if you gave your best. You know if you showed up. You know if you pushed or if you quit. And that feeling, that voice in your head, you can't escape it. You can lie to other people, but you can't lie to yourself. And every time you make an excuse, every time you avoid what needs to be done, every time you choose comfort over growth, you lose something. Not your image, not your reputation, your self-respect. You start trusting yourself less. You say you'll do something, and then you don't. You make promises, and then you break them. And over time, you stop believing in yourself. Not because you're weak, but because you've trained yourself not to follow through. That's what excuses do. They don't just delay your success. They destroy your confidence. Because confidence doesn't come from what you say. It comes from what you do. It comes from keeping your word. Again, and again, and again. That's how trust is built, even with yourself. So if you want real confidence, real belief in yourself, then become someone who follows through. No matter what. Even when it's hard. Even when it's inconvenient. Even when you don't feel like it. Because that's where self-respect is built. Not in comfort. In discipline. Let me ask you something. How many promises have you made to yourself that you didn't keep? I'll start tomorrow. I'll wake up early. I'll stay consistent. I'll work on my goals. And then, you didn't. And every time that happens, you lose trust in yourself, piece by piece, until one day, you don't even believe your own words anymore. That's dangerous. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who will? But here's the truth. You can rebuild it. Starting now. Not by saying more, but by doing more. Start small. Make one promise. And keep it. Then another. Then another. Build that trust back. Because once you trust yourself, everything changes. You move differently. You think differently. You act differently. You stop negotiating with excuses. Because you know who you are. You are someone who follows through. And that identity, that changes everything. Let's talk about identity. Because this is where the shift happens. Most people focus on what they want. I want success. I want money. I want confidence. I want a better life. But they ignore something deeper. Who they need to become. Because you don't get what you want. You get what you are. If you're undisciplined, you'll struggle. If you're inconsistent, you'll stay stuck. If you keep making excuses, you won't move forward, no matter what you want. So instead of asking, what do I want? Ask yourself, who do I need to become? More disciplined? More focused? More consistent? More resilient? Then start acting like that person. Today. Right now. Because identity is built through action. You don't become disciplined by thinking about discipline. You become disciplined by doing disciplined things, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. That's how identity is formed. So if you want to kill your excuses, you need a new identity. An identity that says, I don't make excuses. I do what needs to be done. I show up no matter what. And once you believe that, everything becomes simple. It's no longer, do I feel like it? It becomes, is this who I am? And if the answer is no, you don't do it. That's power. That's control. That's discipline. Now let's go deeper. Most people wait to feel ready. I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I need to prepare. But the truth is, you will never feel ready. There will always be doubt. Always be fear. Always be uncertainty. That's part of it. So if you wait, you'll wait forever. Action creates readiness, not the other way around. You become ready by doing. You become confident by trying. You become capable by failing, learning, and trying again. So stop waiting. Start now. Even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, even if it's uncomfortable. Because progress will always beat perfection. Perfection is just another excuse. I need everything to be perfect. No, you just need to begin. Because perfection doesn't exist. But progress? Progress is real. Progress moves you forward. Progress builds momentum. Progress creates results. So focus on getting better. Not perfect. Better than yesterday. Better than before. That's enough. And over time, that better becomes greatness. Now let's talk about fear. Because fear stops more people than failure ever will. I'm scared to fail. I'm scared to look stupid. I'm scared of what people will think. Fear will control you, if you let it. But listen closely. Fear never disappears. Even the strongest people feel it. The difference? They act anyway. They don't wait for fear to leave. They move through it. Because fear means something matters. Fear means you're growing. Fear means you're stepping outside your comfort zone. So don't run from it. Face it. Walk into it. Use it. Because on the other side of fear is everything you want. Confidence, growth, success. But you don't get there by avoiding it. You get there by going through it, step by step. And every time you do, you get stronger. Every time you face fear, you build courage. And courage destroys excuses. Because excuses hide behind fear. But courage doesn't hide. Courage acts. So be courageous. Not fearless. Courageous. Feel the fear. And move anyway. Doubt yourself. And act anyway. Be uncomfortable. And push anyway. That's how you win. Now don't just listen. Take action. Subscribe for more content like this. And click the notification bell so you never miss a message that could change your life.